there are three questions that I want to answer this morning. Number one, what is submission? It's probably not what you think it is. Number two, what are the principles of submission? Now, there are several principles of submission, but we're only going to focus on two because they're the two most important. And last but not least, why should a person submit to someone else? So let's start with the first question. What is submission? Well, the word submission is translated from the Greek word hupotasso. And hupotasso is a compound word, which simply means that it's made up of more than one word. In this case, it's made up of two words. It's made up of the prefix hupa, which means under, and tasso, which means to place. Now, when you combine these two words, it literally means to be placed under. But it implies a hierarchy, always. Now, depending on the context, hupotasso can mean different things. If we're talking about authority, it means that one person is under the authority of another person. In other words, one person is in charge and the others do what he says. They're submissive to him or to her if it's a boss and she's female. If we're talking about two equal partners making decisions or having to choose between several options, it means that one person is deferring to the other person. In other words, one person is letting the other make the decision or the choice. But regardless of the context, submission always involves a hierarchy. Someone's making the decisions or choices, and the others are deferring to that person. So here's a layman's definition of submission from the biblical perspective. If you're taking notes, write this down. Submission is allowing someone else to decide or choose something. And let me tell you, that goes against human nature. No one wants others deciding for us or choosing something without our input, right? Yeah. Now, let me give you some examples to illustrate the meaning of submission. Whenever Lisa and I go to Tulsa to visit the kids, we usually eat out. But someone's got to decide what restaurant we're going to go to. Many times where my kids want to eat is not where I want to eat. But someone's got to make the choice. Someone has to decide, and I am the patriarch of the family, and I almost always foot the bill for everyone. Yeah. So you would think that I would get to make the decision as to where we eat, right? No. Why? Because it's not about me. It's about spending time with my children. So I defer to them. I let them choose. And people, that's what submission is all about. I'm placing what I want under what they want. And that's what the Greek word hupotasso means. Hupa means under, tasso means to place. I'm placing what I want under what they want. I am deferring to them. That is submission from a biblical perspective. Now, let me give you another example. We're going to make a lot of application because some of you men need to understand what I'm teaching this morning. When it comes to shopping for furniture, my taste is completely different than Lisa's. In fact, what I like, she usually laughs at. But I'm the man of the house, and I make the bulk of the income. So you would think that I would have the final decision when it comes to choosing furniture, right? No, you would be wrong. Because when it comes to furniture, I defer to Lisa. It's her choice. It's her decision. In fact, there's a hierarchy involved when it comes to buying furniture. What Lisa wants ranks higher than what I want. That is submission. In fact, if we go to a furniture store, we'll walk in as a couple, and almost always the salesman comes up, he wants our name, and he's looking directly at me. And I just tell him right up front, I don't make any decisions. It's all up to her. He gives me that kind of look, and I say, yeah, as long as we can afford it. That's my decision, because I'm responsible for the finances. But I can promise you, we're not going to get what I want. So you might as well tailor to her. Yeah. That's what I tell them. You know, as I sit here and I think about it, I believe I submit more than anyone else in the family. Just thinking about the hierarchy, I think it goes like this. Mom, which is Lisa, the children, Micah and Macy, grandkids, especially at Papa's house, and Dad, which is me. Now, you're probably thinking, why the grandkids? Well, I'll tell you why. I told all of my grandchildren, Addie and Emmy are too young to understand this, but they'll catch on real quick. They're the boss. Whatever they want counts. Now, I've gotten my grandchildren in trouble, and I've gotten in trouble for this. If Island and Belle come over to my house and they want ice cream for breakfast, there better be another adult in the room, because if there's not, they're getting ice cream for breakfast. If they want to eat potato chips before we serve lunch in 5 minutes, that doesn't bother me. There better be another adult there. Now, I've also told them, okay, now listen to me, because this was a problem. You're not the boss of everyone. You're just the boss of Papa. If your mommy and daddy say no, then I can't help you there, all right? But as long as it's not dangerous, you're the boss. And they picked up on that. They also know that Papa's at the bottom of the totem pole. But anyways, as I think about this hierarchy, you know what? A benevolent father and a good husband will be the most submissive in a family. It's true. And I'll explain why that's true in a little bit. In fact, it's biblical for a loving father and a benevolent husband to be more submissive than anyone else.